Blessings, everyone. It is June 18th, 2025. I'm Peter Fae, and this is the journey into the Mythica. So, for a long time, I've wondered how best to publish from the Mythica to showcase what I'm saying about there is a great story. There is a pattern beneath all of our paths. There is something that brings us together as the characters in our shared stories. And that when we see this, we see that there is no separation, that all of our passions and all of our purposes are linked, and that we run into each other like the characters in a film at very specific moments in synchronicity. As a mythical journalist, or a mytholist, as I'm calling it for now, documenting the synchronicities on my timeline is the most authentic way of doing this. It's what I call the Hollywood as compared to the Hollywood. Now, I love all stories, but the Hollywood is when something really happens. It's when you really meet someone in that moment, when you really share a movement of consciousness, when you're really by the fire or in the convention center where you're meeting people for the Human Tech Week, where things are really happening. And you're really meeting other people. And then you realize that there was a meaning underneath it. And in the 20 years of the documentation of my story, I've come to see the map to that meaning. The underlying great story that connects all of us. But how to share that. Like, this is something I gleaned after 20 years of work. Building the Mythica. Building out a way to showcase the nature of the timelines so that I could share with you that viewpoint on the creation. And I realized that the best way to do it is just to present things as they occur on the quest. So I went to the Human Tech Week today. I went to the Human Tech thing because Cassandra got a ticket. Now, this is a realm of biotech, biohacking, new technology, AI technology, emergent, real investigations into where science and spirituality meet and where we can address the growing and emergent consciousness that powers the market of human advancement in this way. And this is a very different realm than, say, when I was traveling through Oregon and I was with the bards and the people who are into this temple, the goddess temple in Avalon. It's connected, but this is a very new technology space. And Cassandra and I had come to this because she had received an invite to something called Vitality Bay in Berkeley, where Brian Johnson was speaking. When this was a month or so ago. When we arrived there, I saw that they had the glyph of the tree as part of their brand. Into the Mythica is all about documenting the journey on the tree. So this was significant. There, I met a number of fabulous biotech characters and a couple of people that I would classify as American gods or goddesses, as the case may be, like Alice. And where I felt us moving into that realm, those kind of ideas, as compared to, say, Oregon or another place like that. From there, from the Vitality Bay, we were led to something that was called the Tower, the Frontier Tower, which turned out to be the brainchild of a number of investors who purchased the building that used to house the original Burning Man community on Market Street, as far as I've heard, and started creating a multi-floor tower devoted to new technology, new emergent technology. So now the feeling is that Cassandra and I, as seers, as storytellers, are being led into the realms of this emergent thing. From the tower, we then encountered, in a similar synchronicity, Cassandra and I were led to our friend Christian's birthday party, who we had met with our friend Jillian Love, who was a part of my story way back in the day in 2011, starting in 2011, and he invited us to his birthday party where we ran into someone that I had met at the AI Curious Refuge gathering in San Francisco about filmmaking. And then this led into Cassandra getting a gig at this human tech thing that then she got me a +1 to. As I was there, I ran into a number of characters, some of which I hadn't seen in years, a couple of which that were resonant with me in the same energies that I had been traveling in for most of my life. One of whom was completely aligned with the new ethics for the internet and the way of working with technology to help bring our stories of the garden to life. And where I ran into my friend David Lyons. Now this was interesting because why do things happen? This is how we come to see the great story. Why do things happen? There's a group there called Light DAO, Light DAO, I think, right? Or Tao, and they were down on a certain floor, and while I was wandering around in my usual synchronicity fugue, I suddenly felt, oh, I should go down to that thing, I should get that information, I want to connect with that. So I went down there, and as I'm standing there, all of a sudden this person comes up to me, and after a brief recognition, I realized that it's David Lyons. Now, David Lyons is a producer friend of mine who's been in the Hollywood, in this scene, in that scene, and who was connected to my friend James Vogel. James Vogel is an artist who came in 2002 at the beginning of the quest, and whom I felt had an immediate connection with to co-create kind of a digital Sistine Chapel showing where the hands of humanity and the divine met in the new earth. It's a super artistic thing. What makes all of this significant is that why were we all at this thing in this moment? What was the significance of that? What was the significance of Cassandra and I going to Vitality Bay to meet Alice and a number of other people, then going to the Frontier Tower? From the Frontier Tower, we're then invited to this party where we met Steve, and Steven gets Cassandra a gig at the human tech thing. And now I'm running into people who are directly connected to my story. Why does that happen? This is the essence of the Mythica. It's the essence of answering the most crucial of spiritual questions, of realizing that there is no separation and that we are all interconnected in story. But in order to show that, I had to create the Mythica, a way of publishing the ongoing story. And this is a work in progress. But what I'm showing here is that no matter who we are, there is a pattern to our life. And it is not isolated. It is connected to everyone else. It is playing out as your story. As we come to see this, as we come to divine into it and realize, whoa, things are happening, it gives us the map to our myth and to the meaning of our lives. And in this, we step into the more embodied, more awakened, more mythical version of ourselves, living deeper in the awareness of the Mythica. Thank you. Live your myth. I'm Peter Fae.